ABC 57 News at 4:30.
Overnight, chaos in the Charm City. Shells of cars still burning in the streets and charred debris littering neighborhoods.
If we don't get justice, we're not going to calm down, period.
More than a dozen officers injured in the riots as the National Guard works to quell the violence.
And right now, a still smoldering city as leaders work to take back their streets. Breaking overnight, dozens of businesses in Baltimore burned up in flames, others looted and destroyed. I'm Emily Evans.
And I'm Drew Gardner. Right now, a mandatory curfew is still in place for another half hour after the governor of the state declared a state of emergency last night. So far, nearly 30 people have been arrested and National Guardsmen are still in place in full riot gear. Let's go live now to ABC's Elizabeth Herr, who's been following developments overnight from Baltimore. Elizabeth, good morning.
Good morning. Not only is the National Guard here, but police from across the state have also been called in. They are in the process of getting in position to begin the process of restoring order.
The Maryland National Guard is on the streets of Baltimore this morning as family of Freddie Gray makes a plea asking protesters to remain peaceful.
I want y'all to get justice for my son, but don't do it like this here.
This following near chaos yesterday.
This is not protesting. This is not your First Amendment rights. This is just criminal acts doing damage to a community that is challenged in some ways that do not need this.
For hour after hour Monday, the streets of Baltimore belong to violent mobs looting businesses, pummeling police with rocks and bricks, injuring 15 police officers, 6 of them seriously. The roof of this police car was stomped in, another one set on fire. This CVS pharmacy looted, then it too was sent up in flames. Police arresting dozens but unable to take control. Baltimore's mayor imposed a citywide curfew beginning tonight from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Too many people have spent generations building up this city for it to be destroyed by thugs.
It all started after an emotional funeral service for Gray, the black man who died of a spinal injury while in police custody.
We're putting out a request for up to 5,000 law enforcement from the regional area in the Mid-Atlantic to assist us as well.
Authorities are now hoping a show of overwhelming force will prevent another night like this.
And again, that citywide curfew goes into effect tonight. And officials say that means if you are out, it's for a medical emergency or you are going to work. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, Baltimore.
And in the midst of the riots in Baltimore, one group in Benton Harbor held a meeting to talk about peace and mentoring younger generations. It's part of an initiative started by President Obama called My Brother's Keeper. ABC 57's Alexandra Cohen has more on this push to improve the outcomes of young minority males.
I spoke with 2 7th graders who tell me they believe increasing success rates for young minority men here in Benton Harbor begins with increasing literacy rates.
Like how some kids don't even know how to spell house and stuff.
It's a tough day and age to grow up for kids like Sean Campbell and Brandon Grubbs. They were part of the small group of community members that met in the Morton Montessori gym on Tuesday.
I'm just happy education is in my life so I can actually do something and be someone when I grow up.
These Benton Harbor 7th graders are determined to break the patterns of poverty in their community.
Before, back in the time, black people couldn't go to schools.
This local task force was here to discuss My Brother's Keeper. It's an initiative by President Obama to build ladders for minority males.
Instilling life skills into young men who, in a lot of cases, don't get them early on from home.
Now, this was only the group's second meeting, but they tell me they hope more people will get involved in this conversation. Reporting in Benton Harbor, Alexandra Cohen, ABC 57 News.
And stay with ABC 57 all morning long as we continue to bring you coverage of the unrest in Baltimore.
And now turning our attention to the weather. Chilly start out there now. Luckily, though, that's not going to be the case later on today.
That's right. Good things are on the way today. Let's get over to meteorologist Greg Bobus now, who has a look at today's forecast. Greg, good morning.
Good morning. You're right. Off to a chilly start again. Temperatures low to mid 30s for some of us. We're getting a little bit better in some areas, a little bit worse in others. But by the afternoon, we're back up near 60, and then we just kind of start easing ourselves into some nicer things. Here's the last 12 hours, kind of a roadmap of where we've gone to where we are right now. 52. We settled into the low 50s for a good portion of yesterday evening. Since then, we've dropped back into the 30s, very similar to yesterday morning. A little bit colder in some spots than yesterday morning. Take a look. We're already at the freezing point in Benton Harbor and Knox at 32, 33 in Goshen, and 34 in Warsaw. So there is a frost advisory in effect until 8 a.m. because, well, temperatures will continue to drop in some areas, so patchy frost absolutely in the cards for some of us this morning. Not much of a wind chill, though. The breeze has died on down in the forecast, which is a nice little change for us. Not nearly as windy later on this afternoon. Tons of sunshine, nothing being picked up on first warning satellite radar, so we're off to a clear start. And taking ourselves later into this afternoon, we do make a run for 60, the first of a couple 60s in a row. There are a few limited rain chances between now and the weekend itself could squeeze in a brief shower as well. So we'll look at all that and find a stretch of 70s coming up in the next check of weather. Drew?
All right, Greg, we'll see you then. The unrest around the country between law enforcement and citizens is creating tension everywhere, but the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office wants to change that perception. They started a week-long community policing program last night. Officers will reach out to neighbors each night in each of the county's 16 townships. People are encouraged to voice their opinions to police and ask questions.
We need the citizens out there to help us to help solve crimes, to keep our community safe.
These meetings will be biannual and are aimed to help keep the community and police informed. For more information about the community policing meetings, visit the Elkhart County Facebook page.
Happening overnight, a man was shot in the back on the 1100th block of Lincoln Way West. The victim was taken to Memorial Hospital and is in stable condition. The call came in just before 11 o'clock last night, and police say the victim is in his late 40s.
It did not happen inside the restaurant. The restaurant is only a walk-up window. He came up to the window and asked the personnel inside to call 911 for him.
Police were canvassing the area last night looking for a shooter.
After the body of IU student Hannah Wilson was discovered on Friday, police now believe the man charged in her death may be linked to another missing woman. Lauren Spear, also an IU student, went missing back in 2011 and hasn't been seen since. Now police are looking for any connection between the recent arrest of 49-year-old Daniel Messel and the disappearance of Spear. Messel's cell phone was found near Wilson's body, blood was discovered in his vehicle, and he had scratch marks on his arms.
A new proposal would forbid residents from using cell phones while driving unless they use a hands-free device. That proposal was tabled at a Common Council meeting last night after council members agreed the bill still needs more clarification. Councilman Henry Davis Jr. proposed the hands-free bill, and the public was given the opportunity to comment on the proposal as well. The council still wasn't convinced and will wait until May to make any decisions.
There's a lot of questions that still need to be answered. I'm not going to pass an ordinance that I know won't be enforced.
Some council members are concerned that the bill will be hard to enforce. The South Bend Police Department does not have a traffic bureau, so police may not have the time to enforce the law.
After last week's stage collapse at Westfield High School in Indy, IOSHA has decided to launch a formal investigation. The original decision was not to investigate since no employees were involved. After discovering employees did help build the stage, IOSHA changed its mind and is investigating what caused the collapse. In total, 16 students were injured and taken to a hospital.
Time is 4:38. A tragic accident in California has left family members in shock today.
Coming up, we'll explain how witnesses tried to rescue a man from a freak accident.
And temperatures today, not all that bad. We only get a little bit better going into the weekend, and we'll see a stretch of 70s settle in by Saturday. But between now and then, a little chance for some rain, and we are starting off very chilly. We'll hit all the details coming up next.